what are the fruits of our actions? Karma means the actions we do. Cause and effect, which one started first? Don't know. you cannot trace the beginning. Therefore, since we cannot trace the beginning, we may think this is the cause, but it could be the effect. So this is very tricky. So it's very difficult to judge. Whatever is happening to our lives or the lives of others, it will be challenging to see whether it's the cause or the effect. But what we can conclude is that whatever we do, there will be consequences. Whatever you do. Or whatever we don't do, let's say you don't exercise. That means there's no consequences. Right? If you don't eat, there are consequences. If you overeat, there are consequences. So it seems to be like everything that we do, you have to bear the fruits. This is why here it talks about the fruits. So because of that, he talks about birth, class, span of life and experience. Class here doesn't mean a class where higher and lower. It's not talking about that. Talking about maybe the quality of life that you are going to lead. And then birth here, maybe it talks about the birth of a new day. Every day is like being reborn, isn't it? It seems to be a time in your own sleep that you are not there, you don't exist. And then the next moment you wake up, you exist, you wake up with all the memories of yesterday, right? Yesterday meaning all the memories that is part of yesterday and before. Let's say you're 25 years old, you wake up the next day, you are aware of the day before plus the 25 years of experience, right? So this is what Patanjali says. Some people seem to think that it's not only 25 years, but before that, if there was life, then that too continues. So they may believe in reincarnation. I'm not here to ask you whether to believe on that or not, but some people do believe that I'm 25 years old, I have these 25 years of experience, and maybe another 70 years of experience before that, and maybe another 50 years of experience before that. They think like that. It's not wrong. Some people think that there was nothing before that, it's only these 25 years. However they choose to believe this is up to them, but still it is belief. The possibility could be there, because science says that the human body is energy. At the finest level, at the root of your existence, you are energy. Beyond the subatomic particles, we are energy, and beyond energy, we are consciousness. This is so far that science has been to. And he says that this cannot be destroyed. This energy and the potential state of consciousness cannot be destroyed. It can change, it can assume new forms. So this is what science is saying. Still it is open to exploration. But right now in our own life, we must be responsible for all actions. All actions will lead to the next step in our lives. Number one. Number two, he says here, fruit depends on past birth. Again, past birth could be the last day before you slept. You sleep, unconscious period is like death, and when you wake up, is another birth, another day. So they, birth, have happiness or sorrow as their fruits, depending upon married or demarried. You do good things, you act in a right way, in a way of wisdom, then happiness, right? If the action was wrong, unhappiness. If the action was right, happiness. Again, interpretation of the action is not only the action, but the interpretation of the action also will produce a certain way of experiencing. But if we think our action was wrong, even though it could have been the right action, it will create sorrow. So here, where is the fault mechanism? The mechanism here is in the thinking. The action was right, but you thought it was wrong, therefore you experience sorrow. Parinama changes, causes a lot of pain. Sometimes we cannot move to the next change. We are holding on. Don't want to change. Don't let go. Another one is samskara. Samskara means the latent memory. Memory sometimes doesn't allow us to move to the next. Good memories, yes, fine. But in the good memories that you think about, suddenly from the good memories, think about the not so good memories related to that person. How to overcome? So I mentioned just now, it cannot be a pessimistic philosophy, right? It cannot be that sarvam dukkam, that's all, finish. Sir says in the Gita, all of life is suffering, finish. Next page, empty. That's all. That's all. Have to suffer the whole life? No. They always offer a solution. So Patanjali has mentioned just now, pleasure and pain, both painful. Discriminate, understand. Then you will find that we have an opportunity that future pain is avoidable. We can avoid future pain. How? Cause of pain is the union between the seer and the seen. The concept of meditation is to unify the seen and the seen, correct? Conflict here. Concept of meditation, dharana, concentration, me and object become one. The process disappears, object-subject disappears, meditation. Object, subject, the flow between the object and subject, bridge the flow, become one, everything disappears, meditation. Then he talks about the sense organs. Now, all of this, everything that you do, your entire body, the structure of your body, your physiology, anatomy, seems to be towards connecting with the object. Your sense organs, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your tongue, touch, everything seems to be geared towards connecting, right? Connecting. All your sense organs is to connect, contact. Look at again the concept of meditation. Subject, object. Meditate on the object. Become one with the object. What is the culmination of that in deep samadhi or dhyana? What happens to the object? Concentration of the flower. I am still aware of the flower. It disappears, it comes back, disappears. Oscillation happens, disappears, comes back. I meditate on the image of God or the symbols of my religion. I meditate. But what happens if it is a perfect meditation, where the name and the form or the name of the symbol becomes so entrenched that you finally bridge the gap and you become one with the symbol and the name? And what happens when that takes place? The name and the form will disappear. You will experience a particular state. This is called dhyana or samadhi, the culmination of that. Until then, it is still at the dharana level. Object is there, subject is here, bridging the gap, bridging the gap, bridging the gap. Mind becomes very strong. Definitely, the art of meditation and concentration, your mind power becomes super strong. You become very efficient in your work. Whatever you do becomes successful, even though it may not be successful in the eyes of others, but your perfection in doing it is so marvelous. What is being said by Patanjali is that even though the human system, your anatomy and physiology, everything seems to be geared towards the extracting of information, getting connected with the surrounding and the people and whatever that we are doing, he says here, eventually it has to disappear. This has to disappear. It has to culminate in experience, but the experience cannot be entrenched in the memory. It cannot create a form of attachment. It can form experience. So, Patanjali seems to say that if we can understand this subject and object very clearly and only value the experience, and the memories, if any, is of that experience, and even that, he says, you can scotch it, live in the present moment. That could be the art of living, could be the end of all suffering. If we, with our sanity and our awareness, can train ourselves to understand this overcome the attachments which bring pain, and if we need to think, we control our awareness to only think about those pleasant times, and then even if it is a point where they leave, you are thinking about blessing them so that they continue with their journey. I think you may have found the key. Namaskar everybody. I hope that we have found the answer to no more suffering in our life.